Hello dear students, this is Vivek Vaibhav and you are watching video lecture on humidity and precipitation, class 9th geography, lesson 14. Dear students, in the last video lecture we have discussed humidity. What is humidity? Relative humidity, absolute humidity. Dear students, in this video lecture we are going to discuss condensation. Dear students, as all of you experiencing 3.5 months, almost 3 months precipitation in terms of rainfall in our area, so it is quite important, it is noteworthy to know what is condensation because it is the biggest factor for raining. Dear students, there are so many forms of condensation we are going to discuss here about this, and not only this but also different form of condensation, different types of condensation, and some sorts of important region based question. Dear students, so condensation is the process by which water vapor forms water droplet on cooling is known as condensation. Dear students, as all of you know, due to some set of latent heat, water vapor rise up, and after 2 kilometer latent heat disappear, skip in that water vapor. After that, that sorts of air molecule condense, and after that you find condensation. Atmosphere should reach the saturation level for condensation to begin. With further addition of water vapor or due to a considerable fall in temperature, the water vapor in the atmosphere begin condense. As all of you know, look at this picture. Here you feel evaporation from these water bodies, and as you see moisture laden winds, that means water vapor rises up, and from this point it get condensed, and after that it forms clouds, and these clouds may comes on ground in terms of rain, hail, and different form of precipitation. So dear students, what is the three chief way to assist condensation? What are the three chief ways to assist condensation? So these are high amount of moisture present in atmosphere. So higher the moisture, higher the condensation. That means relative, uh, relatively, it is very good to say higher the condensation, higher the moisture. Second one is the elements provide the nuclei for it should be present in atmosphere. Dear students, after 2 to 3 kilometer, when in a water vapor there is less amount of latent heat, almost no. After that, some dust particle, it is due to some dust particle which is called nuclei. Due to this and salt, some sort of salt and smoke, these sorts of element, due to this, that air molecules retain over there. Okay, so the air should be saturated. Third one is the air should be saturated, that is relative humidity must be 100% to create dew point, or temperature should be below dew point. So we are going to discuss what is dew point in the later. video, look at this picture which shows condensation level. So, as all of you see, 3 kilometer above where this is the condensation level, 2 degrees Celsius temperature. After that it get condensed, and you know that rate of adiabatic rate, rising air drops at 5 degree per Celsius per 1000 meter. So, and this area you see temperature level of this area, as all of you know, higher you go cooler it is. So that's the region condensation occurs. One of the important question here, noteworthy question, condensation is reverse process of evaporation. What is the reason behind it? So dear students, condensation take place up to dew point comes. And but after its precipitation starts due to water droplets converted into water drops. So condensation and precipitation are different process occurring in the different conditions and temperature episodes. Now after condense, the many forms of condensation you can see here is clouds, dew, frost, fog, mist. So let me define first what is cloud. After that, all are we are going to define. So clouds are formed when minute droplets of water vapor condense on a nuclei and remain suspended in air. So why it is remain suspended? Due to some set of dust particle, salt and smoke. Okay. So after that we are going to discuss dew. When water vapor condenses on the surface, it forms tiny droplets of water. It's called dew. Dew commonly occurs during winter on account of cooling of air below dew point. So actually it is on the surface. Okay. So what is frost? Frost is actually in a very low temperature when condensation occurs at 0 meter or ground level. Water vapor freezes into minute crystals of rice on objects near the ground, such as blades of grass, leaves, and tiny rocks particle. Frost is harmful to plants. You can see dew frost in this winter season. Now again we have fog and mist. So fog and mist actually two related terms. Droplets of water suspended in the atmosphere close to the surface of the earth are termed as fog. What is fog? Fog, droplets of water suspended in the atmosphere close to the surface of the earth are termed as fog. As all of you see in this fine morning, there is the fog condition developed in our atmosphere. On the long winter nights, the ground cooled more rapidly than air above. Such cooling reduced temperature at the surface below dew point. So water vapor at lower levels get condensed around minutes solid particles to forms fog. So this is, I think, clear. We are going to discuss this in the next session. But dew point, as all of you know, as I told you various times this terminology, we are going to define this dew point. Dew point is temperature at which saturation occurs and condensation begins. Saturation occurs and condensation begins. The more water vapor in the air, the less air has to cool in order to condense to begin. So dew point is temperature at which saturation occurs and condensation begins. Now some points regarding this condensation. Night air cools more rapidly when cools past point of saturation, condensation occurs. Water vapor condensing in the atmosphere forming clouds or fog. Water vapor condensing on the surface is called dew. So on surface it's dew, in atmosphere it's cloud or fog. Okay, let me introduce some set of things. Cooling and condensation, as all of you know, one of the terminology, condensation nuclei. It is two conditions require condensation. So one is condensation nuclei, another is air must cool or below the dew points. As all of you know what is dew point, as I told you. Condensation nuclei are usually substances such as salt, sulfide particles, dust particles, nitrate particles, all that. And condensation nuclei are also required for formation of ice crystal. So when you see hail storm in your part, it is also due to condensation nuclei. Air may cool or lose heat through the following ways. So what is the region air get cool? So contact with the colder surface, radiation of heat mixing with colder air, expansion as it rises. Okay, these all are the main reason. This is the form of condensation as you see in this video lecture paper. Dew point temperature is actually higher the dew point, more water vapor. Where water vapor is more, higher the dew point. Temperature to which air must be cooled be reach saturation. Like vapor pressure and mixing ratio, dew point temperature is indicator of the actual water vapor content. So dew point and frost, as all of you see in this picture, and so dew condensation at TD greater than 0 degree Celsius, spherical beads of water, frozen dew forms and freeze spherical beads, frost, deposition, TF. These are the terminology we are going to discuss in the higher class. Did not to define here because it is not in your syllabus. Okay, and freeze, TA drops below 0 degree Celsius without reaching TF. So frost would release latent heat, freeze condition would be release latent heat. So in both frost and freeze, latent heat will be released. Now some uh, clouds, some information regarding clouds. So clouds, visible aggregates of minute droplets of water, tiny crystals of ice, and are one of the form of condensation. Clouds are classified on the basis of criteria, form and height. So there are cirrus, which is high, white and thin, and cumulus, which is globular individual cloud masses, and stratus, which is sheets and layers. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss here precipitation. So what is precipitation? Dear students, precipitation is the form of water as liquid or solid state. That means precipitation happens when fall down to the earth's surface of liquid or water in terms of hail, in terms of rain. So when rain, it is called, when liquid form it is called rain, when solid form it is called hail. Okay, so as all of you see, precipitation, water droplet from condensation is very small in size, that means 0.1 mm. Rain droplets are much larger, 0.5 to 2.0 mm. The main difference between condensation and precipitation is size of water droplets. Now, different form of rainfall. As all of you see in this slide, there is conventional rainfall, there is cyclonic rainfall, there is orographic rainfall, and frontal rainfall. In your book, only three sorts of rainfall is given. So let me define one by one. Relief rainfall. It occurs from the cooling of warm moist air which ascends above the mountain barriers lying in the direction of prevailing winds. Cyclonic or frontal rainfall, although there is a difference, but in your book it is given like that. So we are going to discuss in a one way. It occurs when warm and cold air masses confront each other. The warmer air generally climbs above the colder air. Conventional rainfall. So ascending currents of the hot and humid air causes condensation of the clouds resulting in heavy rainfall. Let me define one by one all these terminology. First, conventional rainfall. It occurs in the equatorial region. The high temperature zone leads to rapid heating of air. Such heated air rises conventional current leading to the development of clouds about 10 km height, and ascending currents of hot and humid air causes condensation of clouds resulting heavy rainfall in the part of equatorial region. As of you see in this slide, dear students, here is the water, here water body, from this part evaporation occurs. The land masses, here we have vegetation, evapotranspiration occurs in this part. Due to this, sun hits the ground. After that, the vegetation, due to this vegetation, evapotranspiration occurs, and this water bodies evaporation occurs. So after that, some height 3 km above, condensation occurs in the forming clouds, and after that heavy rainfall occurs. This is the conventional rainfall in this video lecture you see here. Okay, warm air rises together with water vapor, that means moisture, and after some extent, warm air get cooled down and water vapor condensed to the form of water droplet forming clouds. And these clouds become saturated with the water droplet, and this droplet come down on the earth in the form of rainfall. This is conventional rainfall. What is cyclonic rainfall? Cyclonic rainfall is provided by the cyclone created in the tropical and temperate regions along the air mass front, where warm and cold air meet together and warm air is encircled by the cold air, resulting a circular wind or oval shaped system wind. And this tropical cyclone provides heavy rainfall for few days, but temperature cyclone provide light rainfall or drizzling for a long period. Dear students, look at this picture. Here is warm air, here is cold air. Mixing of this, we know a circular pattern form here, and this is the way of cyclonic rainfall. Now, last but not the least, what is the orographic rainfall? As all of you see, many times I told you in classroom about this. So let me define. Relief rainfall is also known as orographic rainfall. So it occurs from the cooling of warm moist air which ascends above the mountain barriers lying in the direction of prevailing winds. The presence of mountain causes humid air to rise. The sudden ascent causes cooling of air leading to condensation and precipitation. As all of you see in the part of our western Ghat, there is the heavy rainfall. In the part of northeast, heavy rainfall. So look at this picture so that it's clear. So the slope is steep here, and with this steep slope, when moist moisture containing laden winds when collide in this area and get condensed. After that, rainfall occurs in this part. Human comfort depends on humidity. What is the reason behind it? So, as all of you know, more than 40% or human efficiency best at 40% of relative humidity, and more or less than humidity creates uneasy or of humidity and dryness for human being. Coast receive more rainfall than interior of the continent. What is the reason behind it? So, as all of you know, orographic rainfall occurs in this part. So, moisture-laden winds provides more rainfall to the coastal parts due to being situated by the coast and receiving the rain barriers wind. But interior get negligible rainfall due to being almost dry winds without moisture. That means that part is rain saddle. The windward side of the mountain receives more rainfall than leeward side. This is the region. This is the thing I define. I defined it several times, so I am not going to define here. You define yourself this part. Thank you so much for watching this video for today. That much only.